Ron Howard, America's favorite director, grew from a red-headed kid on the Andy Griffith Show to a respected Hollywood storyteller. For over 5 decades, he's been seen as the industry's nice guy, a collaborator who brings out the best in others. However, even he has his limits. Howard doesn't shout or storm off. His leadership is calm and respectful. He believes great performances come from talent, humility, and professionalism, which is why some collaborations tested his patience unexpectedly. These challenges were not just hurdles for Howard. They were educational experiences. From his early role as Opie to directing blockbusters, he faced performers who strained his legendary patience. Some introduced chaos, others confused ego with artistry, while a few fell short of his professionalism standards. These weren't just creative differences, they were deeper tensions that affected his casting choices for years. Tonight, we reveal the truth behind those silent resentments. Hollywood's most patient director also has a breaking point. Here are the 7 actors Ron Howard reportedly couldn't stand. 1. Andy Griffith. Ron Howard's Hollywood legacy is marked by kindness and respect, avoiding tantrums and bridge burning. Yet, a more complex story exists beneath that reputation, originating from his early days in Mayberry, where the beloved sheriff wasn't always fatherly off-camera. At 6, Howard joined the Andy Griffith Show as Opie Taylor, the sheriff's son. He was seen as Mayberry's red-headed sweetheart, and to him, Andy Griffith was an ideal mentor. "Andy made me feel like I belonged," Howard said in 1982. "He treated me like a partner." As he aged, Howard became aware of Griffith beyond the character. Mayberry's warmth often masked a complex reality. In later seasons, Griffith's mood changed, scripts tightened, tensions rose, and cast members noted his irritability. Biographies have described him as controlling and quick-tempered, especially as the show's demands grew. Frances Bavier, Aunt B, openly disliked him, while Don Knotts loved him but feared his temper. Howard learned to navigate the set with caution. The turning point came in the final seasons when Howard, now a teenager, began asking more about his character and the show's direction. He faced Griffith's darker side instead of encouragement, revealing the reality behind Mayberry's patient sheriff. Griffith didn't welcome challenges to his authority, even from his on-screen son. "You learn early how to navigate dominant personalities," Howard noted in a 1999 interview, "especially when someone can charm you for a take, then switch off completely." The message was clear. After the Andy Griffith Show, Howard and Griffith rarely communicated, never worked together again, and had minimal professional ties. When Griffith died in 2012, Howard's tribute was brief, carefully crafted, and restrained. This experience shaped Howard's directing philosophy. The warmth seen on screen should also be present off-screen. On his sets, consistency was key, ensuring the kindness and respect felt by cast and crew matched the stories being told. Number 2. Tom Sizemore. Ron Howard leads with calm and respect, not fear. He believes great performances need talent, discipline, and restraint. Working with Sizemore, talented but volatile, was one of Howard's toughest challenges. It was, in his words, a lesson in containment. In 1996, Howard directed Ransom, a thrilling film featuring Mel Gibson and Rene Russo, backed by a strong studio and his disciplined direction. On paper, the production was set for success. Then came Tom Sizemore. Cast as one of the film's antagonists, he was a perfect fit, in theory, gritty, intense, and commanding. But behind the camera, his presence was volatile. By then, Sizemore's reputation preceded him. Unpredictable off-screen, magnetic, but unstable on it. According to industry sources, he often arrived late, disoriented, and off-balance. Retakes piled up not because he forgot lines, but because his erratic energy derailed the rhythm of entire scenes. For Howard, whose sets are known for calm precision and family-like cooperation, managing Sizemore was like containing a storm. In a rare, candid reflection years later, Howard admitted, "There were days I had to recalibrate everything around one person's unpredictability. That's not how I like to work. It disrupts trust and throws off the rhythm." The breaking point came during a pivotal sequence when Sizemore's behavior grew so chaotic that Howard was forced to stop production altogether. Crew members recalled the moment vividly, not an explosion of anger, but the quiet resolve of a director determined to protect his set, even if it meant pushing back against one of his most combustible performers. When Tom Sizemore passed away in 2023, Ron Howard offered no statement, no tribute. Sometimes, even for Hollywood's nicest director, forgiveness has its limits. Number 3. Shelley Long. Ron Howard believes in balance. He's a director who feeds off teamwork, making harmony. His scenes are marked by peaceful focus, which enables the actors to experiment safely, knowing he listens and directs patiently. In 1982, Howard's philosophy faced a test with his first big studio film, Night Shift, a quirky comedy featuring Henry Winkler and Michael Keaton. For the young director in his 20s, the stakes were high, and everything needed to run smoothly. Enter Shelley Long, fresh from TV success, but not yet a household name. She seemed perfect, smart, witty, and charming, but soon friction arose. Crew members noted her overly controlling approach. While Keaton thrived on improvisation, Long insisted on structure, demanding precision in every take. This stark contrast meant Howard was often negotiating between her rigid control and the freedom his actors needed. It was a significant test for Howard, shaping how he would manage strong personalities later. Long's clashes were serious. She questioned blocking, challenged rewrites, and turned scenes into debates over tone. In a 2006 interview, Howard diplomatically stated, "Some actors come to set with their mind made up, leaving no room for discovery. That's difficult when you're trying to capture something magical." The breaking point was a pivotal scene when Long delayed production for hours, demanding script changes. His crew members observed his agitation. He didn't get upset, but was evidently maneuvering to circumvent her. Long always perceived his relaxed style as unprofessional. In an interview with him in 1995, she said, "I come prepared. I always do." Some directors confuse questions with challenges. To her, Howard's easygoing style appeared flippant and unprofessional. This experience also taught Ron Howard collaboration, rather than control, which made Shelley Long the epitome of what he didn't want in future productions. Number 4. Russell Crowe. Ron Howard has been the steady core of his productions, the foundation on which everything relies. His sets are disciplined and professional, shaped by his patience and quiet authority. This is why his collaboration with Russell Crowe on A Beautiful Mind was so impactful. It was a dream pairing on paper. Howard's steady direction and Crowe's dynamic presence seemed bound for Oscar success. The film indeed won Best Picture. However, Howard encountered intense challenges behind the scenes. Crowe's portrayal of John Nash is highly acclaimed. For Howard, it was about managing a volatile genius whose fervor tested his patience. Insiders noted Crowe arrived on set as if preparing for battle, not against actors, but the filmmaking process. He challenged rewrites, scrutinized angles, and turned Howard's notes into philosophical standoffs. What should have been smooth production often turned into negotiations, recalled one assistant director. Russell was brilliant, but he complicated everything. Ron had to manage his fire to keep the film going. Howard later told The Hollywood Reporter, "With some actors, you guide the scene. With Russell, you hold on tight and hope for the best." The tension stemmed not from ego, but from process. Crowe viewed Howard's collaborative style as a threat to the authenticity he sought. In 2004, he unapologetically stated, "I don't show up to be liked. I show up to find truth. If that causes friction, so be it." When asked about Howard, Crowe offered faint praise. "Ron's a thoughtful director, but sometimes he wants things too clean and safe. Real art isn't safe." The film triumphed, winning Oscars and a place in history. However, the personal toll on Howard was evident. He never cast Crowe in another lead role, no cameos or sequels. When asked in 2015 about a reunion, Howard's response was firm yet diplomatic. "Some collaborations are meant to be once in a lifetime." The masterpiece remained, but the partnership ended, highlighting that even Hollywood's nicest director faces high creative costs. Number 5. Marlon Brando. In 1995, Ron Howard received the dream assignment. He'd be working with Marlon Brando, the iconic actor from A Streetcar Named Desire and The Godfather. Working with him was perceived as a career high point. It turned out instead to be a tutorial in why some legends are safest watched from afar. The biographical drama dramatizing a patriarch's legacy seemed like an awards contender, but became a nightmare almost instantly. Brando's lack of preparation, unwillingness to memorize lines, and use of dialogue cards while shooting the set were reported by insiders. The core problem was his disrespect for people's time. He'd be gone for hours, cause productions to wait with his late arrivals, and demand script changes immediately. What others were in awe about became second nature with Brando. For Ron Howard, known for collaborative direction, the experience was stifling. He felt trapped by one actor who held the production hostage, dismissing film as unworthy. The outcome revealed a harsh truth. Even Hollywood's top talent can ruin film without professionalism. Crew members recalled the chaos. Marlon treated the set like his playground, one insider said. He'd halt scenes for new motivations, making everyone wait. The breaking point came during a simple dialogue exchange when Brando repeatedly stopped filming, demanded immediate rewrites, and disappeared for 3 hours. When he returned, he insisted on restarting from scratch with a reimagined character. Howard, the very picture of professionalism, went out of his way in trying to accommodate Brando's demands while keeping the schedule intact. But insiders reported his irritability increased with a growing disrespect from the cast and crew. Following weeks of chaos, the production disintegrated. Even though Howard in no way publicly blamed Brando, the Hollywood community well knew, after all his patience, even the most understanding director drew the line. Years later, in answering questions about legendary stars, Howard replied, "Some legends deserve their reputation due to their work. Some deserve it due to their conduct. It's essential to recognize the difference." Brando's chaos, Gibson's dominance, Crowe's volatility, and Winkler's rivalry illustrate Ron Howard's career, revealing that even the kindest director faced challenges. Behind Hollywood's calm facade lies the truth. Every composed leader has limits. For Howard, it was about professionalism, not ego. These experiences molded him into a director valuing collaboration over chaos and respect for the craft. His conflict stemmed from maintaining an environment for everyone to excel, his standard that not all could meet. Were Howard's expectations too high, or did these actors cross professionalism lines? Share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more untold stories of Hollywood's hidden conflicts and perfection's true cost. Number 6. Henry Winkler. In the 1970s, Happy Days captured nostalgic Americana with smiles and laughter. However, for Ron Howard, life behind the scenes was more complex. As Richie Cunningham, Howard was meant to anchor the show, but Henry Winkler's Fonzie quickly became the star. The spotlight on Howard began to fade as industry insiders noted the rising tension. Howard dreamed of being a filmmaker, viewing Happy Days as a stepping stone. Meanwhile, Winkler thrived in his stardom, influencing the show's direction and sidelining Howard. As one writer noted, Happy Days was marketed as Richie's tale, but America preferred the Fonz, much to Ron's discontent. When the show first launched in 1974, the heart was Ron Howard in the form of Opie Taylor. Before long, Henry Winkler's leather-jacketed bad boy Arthur, Fonzie Fonzarelli stole the show. A background character in the early stages, he overnight became a cultural icon. When his popularity increased, the direction of the show changed too. Storylines were all about him, advertising emphasized his character, and executives were happy with his popularity. What was initially the show about Richie Cunningham became essentially the Fonzie Show. Industry insiders reported Howard's unhappiness at being put in the background in his own show. A production assistant observed, the irony was biting. The all-American hero was upstaged by the nonconformist. Howard publicly discussed it delicately, conceding the tension without attacking. In an interview in 2023, he explained, when a character becomes that big, things have to be modified. In extremely rare statements from the 1990s, he confessed, I second-guessed my position on the show. I didn't dislike Henry the person, but I disliked the way the storylines changed around me. For Ron Howard, Happy Days was a tutorial in stardom, learning that in television, the pendulum swings quickly, even for the star. By the early 2000s, he had proven himself a capable Hollywood director, entrusted with large-scale productions. Thus, when the opportunity to direct Mel Gibson in Ransom arose, it felt like a meeting of minds, one pro coming together with another for a thriller. Yet, in short order, the perfect collaboration became a patience test. In 1996, Gibson was at the height of his powers in Hollywood following his Academy Awards for Braveheart, being star and director with considerable leverage. His frenetic energy in front of the camera was difficult to contain behind the frame.